Beau is Afraid, a controversial 3-hour mixed review extravaganza, but does it deserve that title? Aster is no small name when it comes to horror movies now. Midsommar and Hereditary are some of the most praised horror movies to come out in the last couple years, so how come Beau is Afraid is so much different? I feel like it starts with opinions. I know that sounds weird and it doesn't really make sense, but with a box office of only 11.4 million compared to Hereditary and Midsommar's combined 131 million box offices, it means a significantly less amount of people went and saw it, while it seems a significantly larger amount of people know all about it and how it isn't all that. Not even that it isn't all that, but that it's too long, doesn't make sense, which is a whole nother thing, and that it does too much. These criticisms baffle me, and in a lot of the poorer reviews, people relate this movie to Midsommar and Hereditary when it's a wholly different movie. Yes, it was made by the same director, but that's the only similarity. I feel like people didn't even watch a trailer or read a brief summary before they went and saw it and were disappointed because they expected Heredisummer or something. Had this movie been made by a different director, or if Aster's previous movies were different, it would have gotten totally different reviews, I feel. Because overall, I feel almost objectively this is a great movie. The themes it goes over, the absurdist storytelling, and really plot. It's a movie grounded in anxiety and fear, not reality. I have an entire video going over and explaining everything about the movie, but besides that, I came to all those conclusions myself. This movie seemed to go over people's heads, so they just attribute it to dumb and without purpose. Another common criticism is that Beau had no character growth and the movie ended how it started, or the ending was disappointing. I wholeheartedly disagree. The whole point of Beau's character, even after the attic scene and seeing what he asked for, is that he can't change, or won't. He continues to live in this life of fear and complacentness, which is why by the end he hasn't really changed or grown, and why he sinks. He never accepts guilt for things that he has done and either says it's not his fault or pushes it on to other people. Complaints are about how did he grow into this anxiety-ridden man, because that's who he is. Especially with his mom's world around him, he's not going to change. If anything, he will only get worse. The only time he imagines what it would be like is when it's narrated and drawn and all pretty. It still ends once reality sets in. It's one of the main points of the movie. Most of the criticisms to this movie can be solved with watching it, which leads me back to what I started this whole rant about: opinions. People didn't watch this movie and instead just decided it was bad, heard from a TikTok or a friend or wherever that this movie is long and doesn't make sense and decided, oh, okay, cool. Another complaint is that Aster made this movie. Yep, that's it. Jokes aside, is that it ramps up without intent. Like, it goes completely off the rails for no reason. Like, why is there a penis in the attic? Why is there this 30-minute narrated part of Beau's fake life? Who are all these people and are they really out to get him? And really, everything is there from the start. Nothing comes out of nowhere. The foreshadowing in this movie is insane. In the first 10 minutes, the boat flips over, showing that Beau is trapped. The man about to jump off the ledge but not doing it could just be seen as Beau, waiting his whole life at the edge of either getting better or going completely into his anxiety, but neither happens. The guy even says we're trying to get him to jump, which we find out later is basically what his mom is trying to do. Not all films have happy endings. In fact, all of Aster's films have bittersweet or plain unhappy endings. In Hereditary, the family basically all dies, and in Midsommar, the only survivor is now a cult member. Aster's films all surround mortality, and Beau is Afraid is no different. It's another film with a guaranteed ending from the start. Just like how Hereditary is, everything was predetermined. Payman was always going to take over, it was just a matter of time. And the start of Midsommar spells out the whole movie. She was always gonna get indoctrinated into the cult, and Beau was always gonna stay the same. Essentially, if you have a problem with Beau is Afraid, you have a problem with his other movies. Now, it's not a perfect movie, obviously, no movie is, but it does not deserve all the hate it gets. But who knows,